John, you mentioned before, Ben Bywater from BYU. He's in his 6th year at about 6'3", 235, 240-ish. But here's a guy who actually broke out a couple of years ago. In his 3rd year, I believe he was still a freshman at the time, a 3rd-year freshman, with 102 tackles leading the team. And he had a really good year again in 2022. Unfortunately, he injured his shoulder in week 4 last year. So maybe he's going to be able to sneak up on everybody again this year.
Well, that's kind of what I see in this guy. I love versatility, and this guy can play a lot of different spots in a defense. And the injury, he would have come out, I believe. We looked at him as a guy that would be a linebacker that would have been in the draft last year. We had, I forget where, we were thinking early on, but we liked him, and there's a lot of things. He's got good size, is somewhat of a slender frame, but he's got excellent length, and that really shows up, playing off blocks on the move. He's very quick with his hands to create separation, especially when he is working to the ball. When he's in chase mode, and he comes across a blocker, he can shoot those hands quickly and create separation immediately. He's at his best as a run and chase off the ball linebacker. He's very instinctive, and he can find the football. They like to line him up, or they have liked to line him up, off the edge, off the ball, kind of as a half in the box, half out of the box player. And he's been very effective in that role. He's been a good edge blitzer, but he can also sift inside and get skinny to the line to blitz inside gaps. He flashes very good coverage tools. He looks for work in the short and intermediate zones and flashes ability to find the throwing lane. Extreme quickness breaking on the ball. He sees the delivery key very well, and he breaks as the ball is released. He's got very good peripheral vision, as far as that goes. That's something, as a former linebacker coach for many years, we always talked about big eyes, having that peripheral vision where you can see the field and see multiple threats. He flashes that ability, and I say flashes for a reason. It doesn't always show like it should. The talent is certainly there, but there's some inconsistency. And there are some concerns. He's not the best take-on guy in line. He struggles to maintain leverage on straight-up blocks. He's not a natural knee bender in my observations. He can get bounced around a little bit when they put him, actually inside. But there was another guy that we said that about 2 years and years ago, named Brian Urlacher, because they moved him on so many different spots. And somebody got a hold of him and taught him how to take on blocks. And I think that's going to be some coaching point for this guy. I think his athleticism was good enough. The slender frame does bother me a bit. He's more of a wrap-up and drag tackler than a big hitter. He makes a lot of tackles beyond the line and in pursuit, however, with his quickness. There is an injury concern. The shoulder surgery did stem from that game he was hurt in September. He's a little overaged, as we talked about. 6th year at BYU, and he's, that's going to be a consideration. His zone cover skills, getting back to that, he can get caught covering grass and not locating threats within the zones, and that's what a zone cover linebacker has to do, especially if that's going to be one of the strengths of your game. Speed, quickness, reaction ability. He's got to be very consistent in zone coverage to get a job. As far as what he does this year will determine, I feel, his draft status, because that's what they're looking for. They want to see consistency in that area, and how he plays in those areas. Again, they're going to move him around a lot because they're going to take advantage of his pass rush skill, and moving him around and seeing what he can do and how he plays this year is going to determine whether we're looking at a second-day guy or third-day guy or whatever. I think the jury's out. But this is a very good, solid, athletic football player with great potential and can develop, I think, into a really, really good player. So I'm really looking forward to watching him this year because I was really high on him, from the 2022 season.
All right, Hayden, you wanted to talk some TCU football, and let me see if I can get this one. Is it Nnamdi Abiazor?
It is either Nabi Obiazor, or I believe it's Nabi Obiazor. But
okay, I'll go with that.
Well,
And yeah, only 225, but he broke out last year to lead the team in tackles and sacks.
yeah, definitely. He's one of the guys that's got one of those tricky names. We always got one each and every week, so he's going to be the guy this week. But as I always say, love a good story. He's a guy that had to climb his way through the college ranks to get where he's at today. Ended up starting off at the junior college level. Played at Iowa Western Community College, where he was actually a defensive back. So it's where some of he's 225 pounds, a little bit of a lighter type linebacker, where that frame comes from. But he was a first team All American at the junior college level before he accepted his only Power 5 offer to play at TCU. But since stepping on TCU's campus, he's appeared in all 25 games. He has 14 starts. Now, when you watch TCU's defense, I always like watching Big 12 defenses because they always run a lot of unique schemes. TCU runs the 3-3 stack still, which you don't see a ton of still, but they're a team that does it, truly stack their linebackers, so it's really fun to watch. But anyways, I digress. He's a great athlete for the position. He's got speed to make plays all over the field, takes great angles in pursuit on outside run plays with proper positioning. He uses a good punch to collision receivers in zone coverage, and he's a reliable tackler, in space. He also showed some solid man coverage skills to handle slot receivers. He showed some decent technique. Probably wouldn't expect him to do that at the next level, but he proved that he has a little bit of experience doing that. He reminds me a lot of Jalen Carlisle coming out of Missouri from this past season. He's a guy that I thought would transition down to linebacker. Carlisle played mostly safety while he was at Missouri. And at the next level, just thought he was going to be more of a linebacker. OBA Zor, he's already got that experience in the box, so won't have to be a transition just moving down. But he's going to have a unique role in the NFL and might not be able to hold his own in the trenches just due to his lack of size. He also has almost no ball skills production, so he only has 4 PBUs and 0 takeaways in his TCU career. So definitely if you're looking at an NFL prospect just from a numbers standpoint, numbers don't tell the whole story. Film is always number one. But if you're just looking solely at the numbers, that definitely stands out to me. However, whoever's going to take a chance on him, they're getting an athletic linebacker. He's got defensive back experience, and he should make an impact, especially on passing downs.
Well, they want guys in the NFL that can cover. That's number. That's going to be one of the first things they look for. The 2-down inside backer, they're still there, but they're not going to get drafted very high. And they want those. They want athletes that can move. So he's got some skills there. Iowa State plays that 3-3 too.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. I love the 3-3. It's fun to watch.
By the way,
I'm not.
great.
I like to coach against it. I had the horses.
Oh yeah, no doubt.